Welcome. Today, we're really getting into how investment strategies are rigorously evaluated. We'll be exploring some essential tools, things like backtesting, historical scenario analysis, and various simulations.
Exactly.
This should give you a really practical understanding, especially, if you're navigating some of those complex topics, maybe like in CFA Level 2.
Right. It's about moving beyond just intuition. These techniques provide a more structured, data-driven approach. They help you gauge a strategy's, let's say, true potential, and its pitfalls, too.
Okay, let's unpack the first one then. Backtesting. What's the core idea behind backtesting an investment strategy?
Well, backtesting is essentially about seeing how a strategy would have performed historically,
Hmm.
using past data.
Right.
It serves as a kind of acceptance or rejection criterion. You're trying to approximate real-life investing, using that historical data to see if it actually delivers what you'd hope for.
Okay, so how do you actually do a backtest? Step by step, where do you start?
Yeah, it's generally a three-stage process. First up is strategy design.
Designing the strategy makes sense.
Yeah, you need to clearly define the investment hypothesis. What are the precise rules? What are the parameters? Things like the investment universe, how you define returns, how often you rebalance.
And start and end dates, presumably.
Exactly, and start 10 dates.
Yeah.
So, for example, you might use earnings yield to define what you mean by value stocks. That's part of the design.
Okay, step one, design. Then what?
Step two is the historical investment simulation. This is where you actually construct the portfolio based on your rules and rebalance it over time using the historical data. Often, you use something called a rolling window procedure.
A rolling window. Why is that important?
Well, it helps mimic live investing more closely because the data set you're using to make decisions keeps updating, just like it would in real time.
Got it. So design, simulate, and then?
And third, analysis of output. You have to interpret the results. Look at key metrics, things like the Sharpe ratio for risk-adjusted returns, the Sortino ratio.
Which focuses more on the downside risk, right?
Yeah, precisely. It isolates that negative volatility. You also look at overall volatility, maximum drawdown, the biggest peak to trough drop, and visuals are really important here too.
Like charts.
Yeah, time series charts of returns, cumulative performance graphs, usually on a logarithmic scale to see growth rates properly.
So backtesting gives you these powerful historical insights, but I imagine it's not perfect. There must be challenges or pitfalls.
Oh, absolutely. Every tool has limits, and you really need to be aware of the common problems with backtesting.
Such as?
Well, a big one is survivorship bias. This happens when you only base your conclusions on the entities, like companies or funds, that have survived until the present day.
So you ignore all the ones that failed along the way.
Exactly. And that can seriously skew your results. For example, testing a low volatility strategy using only current index members might show great results. But if you included all the stocks that were originally in the index, including those that dropped out, the results could even reverse.
Wow, okay. That's a major one. What else?
Another critical issue is look-ahead bias. This is when your backtest accidentally uses information that wouldn't actually have been available at that point in history.
Like knowing future earnings before they're reported.
Precisely. Like knowing Q4 earnings in, say, December, when they weren't actually reported until February. You also have to account for reporting lags, which differ maybe 1-2 months in the US or Canada, but potentially 3 months or more in parts of Asia ex-Japan. Data revisions are another form of this bias.
Subtle but dangerous. Anything else?
Yes, there's data snooping, sometimes called p-hacking. This is basically torturing the data until it confesses. You try out loads of different strategies on the same data set and only report the one that looks good after the fact, rather than testing a predefined hypothesis.
So you're fitting the strategy to the past noise, not finding a genuine effect.
You've got it. It's like picking the winning horse after the race is finished.
Yeah.
It tells you nothing about predicting the next race.
These biases sound like they could completely invalidate a backtest. How do we navigate these? How can you get a more reliable picture?
There are ways to mitigate them, thankfully. Using true point-in-time data is crucial data, as it was actually known back then.
Okay.
Employing cross-validation techniques helps too. Actually, that rolling window backtesting we mentioned is a form of cross-validation. And, importantly, set higher hurdles for statistical significance. Don't just accept any positive result, maybe demand stronger evidence, like a t-statistic greater than 3.0, for instance.
Right, demand more proof. Okay, so backtesting looks backward. But the big assumption is that the past resembles the future. What if market regimes change drastically? What happens then?
That's a great point, and it's where backtesting alone falls short. For that, you need historical scenario analysis.
Scenario analysis. So looking at specific periods.
Exactly. You evaluate how your strategy performs during specific, known historical periods or structural regimes. Think about recessions, or periods of high inflation, or maybe very low volatility versus high volatility. For instance, you might find a risk parity strategy holds up much better during recessions compared to a simple benchmark strategy.
That makes sense, stress testing against known history. But what about exploring possibilities that haven't happened yet, taking it a step further?
Now you're talking about simulation. That's where we move beyond just rearranging the past.
Okay, tell me about simulations.
There are two main flavors. First is historical simulation, often using bootstrapping. Here, you randomly draw returns with replacement from the historical data.
With replacement.
Yeah, so you can pick the same period's return multiple times. It lets you generate many possible historical paths by kind of scrambling and recombining the past, relaxing that strict chronological order you have in backtesting.
Interesting. And the other type?
The other is Monte Carlo simulation. This one's generally more flexible. Instead of just resampling history, you assign specific statistical distributions to your key variables, like assuming stock returns follow a multivariate normal distribution, or maybe something else.
And then you draw from those distributions.
Exactly. You run thousands, maybe millions of trials, drawing random observations from those defined distributions. This lets you explore a much wider range of potential hypothetical futures, going beyond what's strictly in the historical record.
Okay, so backtesting, scenario analysis, simulation, feels like we're building a comprehensive picture. Is there a final step to really test how solid our analysis is?
Yes, absolutely. You need to perform sensitivity analysis.
Sensitivity, testing the inputs.
Precisely. It shows how your strategy's expected performance and, crucially, its risk profile change when you tweak your input assumptions. For example, what happens if you switch from assuming that simple multivariate normal distribution to, say, a multivariate skewed t-distribution?
Why would you do that?
Because financial returns often aren't perfectly normal. They tend to have fat tails, more extreme events than a normal distribution predicts, and often a negative skew. The skewed t-distribution can capture that better.
And does changing that assumption make a big difference?
It certainly can. Your Sharpe ratio might look fairly similar, but measures of downside risk, like conditional value at risk or CVR, which tells you the expected loss given you're in the tail, can be very sensitive to these distribution assumptions. Especially for simpler, naive strategies, it really highlights potential hidden risks.
Wow. Okay, so it seems you now have this really powerful toolkit, understanding backtesting its goals, but also its serious pitfalls, then using scenario analysis for those big market regime shifts, and finally leveraging simulations, both historical and Monte Carlo, coupled with sensitivity analysis to really explore the range of future possibilities.
Exactly. And maybe the final thought for you is this. The real value isn't just in knowing what did happen in the past. It's in rigorously assessing, using all these tools, what could happen in the future. That's how you build genuinely robust investment strategies ready for tomorrow's markets, whatever they may bring.